Hello everyone, Kaoz here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. The final part of the Varlamore saga was released yesterday thanks to the Final Dawn, and it brought with it new challenges, monsters, skilling methods, moneymakers, AFK activities, all of which we tested on stream. After playing it for a full day, I can confidently say that it's probably tied with the first part of Varlamore in terms of hype, and today I'm here to tell you everything you can do in the new areas around the map. Boys and girls, I'll be making in-depth videos about most of the topics we talk about today, so remember to subscribe with notifications on, drop a fat like for our YouTube overlords, and you can join our Discord server with the link in the description to play with me and our amazing community. As you can see from the title, this video will serve as a little recap of everything you can do in the third part of Varlamore, as I have done with the previous expansions. I will give you a quick rundown of every topic, and to tell you how we are going to cover it in greater detail in some upcoming guides. This in case you haven't been able to play and you want to jump straight into the action. So scapers, grab your favorite drink and snack, and let's begin. We are going to start with quests because these are just a one-time thing and not repeatable activities like we have later down in the list. The very first one is the Final Dawn, and this one has a really cool plot twist if you have been following all the lore from the first and the second expansions. One thing that we need to mention about this is that if you remember, Jagex was advertising the main reward from this quest, a new weapon, which was either rivaling the Dragon Scimitar or was going to be like a side grade, like another weapon that you could potentially aim for either a mid or a late game account. The problem with this is that there's a lot of requirements for this new quest, and actually the road in order to get to the Final Dawn is a lot tougher than getting to Monkey Madness 1 on a fresh account. On my hardcore, when I did it, I believe I only needed to get 43 prayer for protection, a few combat levels in order to survive some of the things that you need to battle in Ape Atoll, and it doesn't really take too long. However, if you want to go to the Final Dawn, you want to complete this quest on a brand new account, it's going to take a little bit longer, not only for the requirements, but the skill requirements themselves, the quest and the skills, are going to take much longer. I don't really think this is going to be a great alternative because it's going to take, it's going to be a little more tedious to get. However, the item is really cool, it has good stats, a good special attack, you can potentially go for it, but I personally don't think it is going to be rushing to get the new item, as opposed to the Dragon Scimitar we all know and love. Up next we have the Shadow of Custodia. This is a pretty quick quest that you can do, and it gives you access to the new dungeon where you can find the Custodia Stalkers, more about those later, in which they come in juvenile, mature, and elder forms. You can find them in single, multi-combat areas, a Slayer task. It looks to be a pretty decent, not great moneymaker, but it's nice, and the uniques are going to be pretty cool, but like I said, more about those later. We have a mini quest by the name Veil Totems, and this is just like the Sleeping Giants quest that basically shows you the ropes when it comes to the Giants Foundry. This mini quest is going to tell you everything you need to know about the new Fletching Activity, the new minigame, but it is not going to give you the entire rundown of how you can maximize it. It's just going to give you the basics, and that is exactly what my guide of this upcoming Monday is going to be all about, and I'm pretty excited for that one. So just do this one, you're gonna learn how to do the activity itself, and you're gonna be good to go. The last one is a for fun quest called Scrambled, and this one basically has the same vibes as the Frog quest from Varlamore Part 2. It's really fun. There's one part that got a little frustrating, but the dialogue in it is really nice, and it has some pretty interesting plot twist that I heavily recommend you guys do this one, but maybe put it down in the priority list because this doesn't give you anything special. It's just for fun, and I'm really happy that Jagex is, has the freedom to do these because they definitely need to do more of these in the future in order, or I would say to complement the bigger releases. So that's it about the quests. If you do all of them, I don't think it's going to take you longer than 3 hours to complete them, and if you follow a quick guide on the wiki, it is going to be even faster. When you finish or partially complete the Final Dawn quest, this is going to give you access to a new area by the name Tonali Cavern. The main monster to fight here are Earthling Naguas, which, like we said in previous videos, are going to drop a new weapon by the name Earthbound Tekpatl. This is basically the stab version of the Sulfur Blades and I would say it's the Glacial Tumulti, I forgot the name for a second. And the interesting part about these Naguas is they have a brand new mechanic where you fight them, but as soon as they hit 60% HP, their defense stats are going to shift, and they're going to be weak to crush because they will have an earthen shield around them. At first, they are weak to I believe it is Stab, of course, since you can use the new weapon on them, and then they are going to be weak to Crush when they fall below 60% HP. This is something I believe we have never seen in any monster in old school RuneScape, and it's pretty cool that they started experimenting on something that's maybe not as important as an Earthen Nagua. Up next we have a brand new quote-unquote group boss, and I say it like that because I personally wouldn't even consider it a boss, nor do I even think it's on the high scores, and that is the Gemstone Crab. From the moment Jagex started advertising this as an AFK group melee activity, I was really curious how they were going to handle it, especially when it comes to damage. Oh surprise, the Gemstone Crab can hit 1s and 0s, and that is about it. I didn't really pay much attention because this is supposed to be an AFK activity and I was only talking to chat when we were doing this, but I think the crab can only target one person and it's mostly going to hit 0s, so even if you're a low to mid-level hardcore, you may potentially not get a ton of experience, but I also don't think you're gonna die if you leave your character up to 10 minutes at this AFK place. And speaking of AFK in 10 minutes, this is something that if you do it at the bare minimum efficiency, you only need 2 clicks every 10 minutes. You need to click on the crab, and when it falls to 0 HP, it is going to go to another location, and you need to click on the cavern. That is going to take you to the next spot where it is going to be at. If you want to be a little more efficient, you're going to bring your super combat potions, prayer potions if you want, your piety, prayer, or chivalry even if you haven't. And you can also train ranged with this one, it's not really only for melee. And if you want to do it minimum efficiency, this is one of the best activities that you can do, and at quote-unquote maximum efficiency, I was doing it with Full Torva, Soul Reaper Axe, Super Combat Potions, Piety. I was getting upwards of 170,000 experience per hour, and something I will definitely do when I need more combat experience if I want to go for total levels. Whenever the crab dies, the top 16 players that deal damage are going to be able to mine some gems. This is not going to be a great moneymaker, but it's just a little token that you will receive for your efforts. And like I said during the questing segment, we have a brand new Slayer creature by the name Custodia Stalkers, which you can kill at the Custodia Pass after completion of its respective quest. The interesting part about it is that it's a one Slayer creature, but in 3 different tiers. You have Juvenile, Mature, and Elder. All of them are able to drop an item called Antler Guard, which you break down into Atlatl Dart tips in order to make into Atlatl Darts, with another item that we get from the Fletching Activity. The Mature and the Elder one are able to drop the Antler Guard, which is an offhand weapon. For all 3 combat styles, it has really good offensive stats, but it has terrible defensive stats, which is aimed for pures, and I believe it only has a 50 prior requirement in case you want to go ahead and use it. The Alchemist's Signet is an item that can only be dropped by the Elder Custodia Stalker, and this is something that you trade in at the Mastering Mixology basement in order to get some herblore supplies, and this is going to be great for Ironman looking for items in order to use at the Mastering Mixology activity. It is yet to be seen how many of these, or like how much money you can make with these, or if prices are going to drop for it, but as an Iron, of course, you don't really care about that. The other interesting part about this place is that there's single and the multi-combat areas. I was able to try both of them, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty decent Slayer assignment. So if you, again, like previously, if you don't want to do these, then don't do the quest because you're not going to be able to do them, and the Slayer Masters are not going to be able to assign it. The runner-up spot is the new Fletching Activity by the name Auburnvale Valley, and I was super excited about this one. I remember it having a 50 fletching requirement, however, I believe that was lowered to 20 in order to start working with oak logs and things you can make out of those oak logs. Like I said before, if you did the tutorial, the Veil Totem mini quest, you will know how to do this, I would say the basics of it, but you don't really get to see how to do it efficiently 100%. And that is what my video coming up on Monday is going to be about, where I'm going to show you how to make it super efficient, maximum experience per hour, the bare minimum with my hardcore that has only level 55 fletching. So I'll be able to show you both the minimum and the maximum in case you're more excited about, getting the most out of this activity. I would say summary of this one is that you want to open the map and look for an icon that's called a Veil Totem, and you want to find a route that is efficient for you, which I will also go in depth on my next guide. In order to visit all of the totem places, make a totem, carve all the animals that you see represented around by the time you are there, and then decorate it with whatever you have in your bank if you're an iron, or whatever you want to buy as an unrestricted account. The interesting part about this is that after you do a full cycle and then you come back to the first one, the ents around the area are going to leave offerings behind, and these are basically like little plants that you have in your inventory. It's a stackable item, which I didn't know about it until I clicked on it, and apparently you get your rewards from clicking on the plants themselves, and here's where you can get the fletching knife, the bowstring spool, and the more things in order to help you with money making, maybe resources for your iron if you play that game mode, and it is really, really good. The cool part about this is that if you go super unlucky and dry at the fletching knife, the bowstring spool, or anything else you might want to unlock, which are basically cosmetics I believe, you can talk to the guy that gives you the tutorial about this, you trade him, and then you are going to have research points in order to get the items themselves without having to rely on RNG. Like I said, all of this is going to be covered in my video coming up on Monday. I'm really excited for it, and I'm going to show you the maximum experience per hour and how this activity is coming to Old School RuneScape to change fletching forever for the better. And of course, the thing that people were most excited about from this update is the Doom of Mokayotl, which I believed it was going to be called the Otso Ayak itself, but when clicking on the monster itself, it doesn't have that name, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if the Otso Ayak is something else that they named, but that's besides the point. So in terms of difficulty, I got this question a lot. How do you compare difficulty when it comes to the Doom of Mokayotl with the Inferno, the Colosseum? And I believe right now people are saying that it's more difficult because it's literally the first day as I'm recording this video, and content on release day is always difficult, even though later down the road it's pretty much something that you can do either without taking damage, without many supplies. If you're really good at the Inferno and the Colosseum, right now if I go to the Inferno, I don't need to use my brews up until Zuck. If I go to the Colosseum, I don't need to use my brews, if at all, or until Sol himself for some emergencies. The Doom of Mokayotl does feel really challenging, but I believe when everything is optimized, when you have everything down, memorized and everything, you get the rhythm, I don't think it's going to be as bad. I would definitely place it harder than the Colosseum for now, but I don't believe is more difficult than the Inferno if you're just getting into those activities. The interesting things coming from this boss are obviously all of the new items that you get from them, the new wand, the new boots, and the upgrade to the tormented bracelets, as well as all of the non-important unique items and that super cute pet that you're going to be able to get, I believe, starting at Delve 6. Another common question that came up is, when can you start getting these items? And I believe it's as early as Wave 3. Or floor 3 rather, I'm talking about it as the Inferno or the Colosseum. And then you can start earning these uniques at floor 3, which is really interesting, but I guess we will have to wait and see how common it is or how uncommon it is. The pet you can only get from 6 and onwards, so only 6, 7, and 8. At the time of making this video, I believe the boots are going for anywhere between 800 mil to 1 billion GP, and the only reason why this is because not a lot of people are able to clear this yet. These boots are really nice, but they have no business being 1 billion GP. I believe when things stabilize, they're going to be anywhere between 200 to like 300, maybe 400 mil, but just like Oathblade, the things are going to keep going down every now and then. And then you have the wand, which I believe someone told me, one of our good friends on the Discord told me that it's going to be good at TOB for the Nylo room as well as Fosani. So I am going to have to wait and see if I can get my hands on one of these, whether buying it or getting it from the Doom of Mokayotl, in order to test them at those places. Those are the common things that I have to say about the Mokayotl that came up in my streams, and I will have another full Mokayotl video, like an introduction, beginner from scratch guide in order to teach you all the mechanics, coming up next week on Thursday, and I hope to get a few clears for you fellas in order to make it as easy to understand as I like to make all my guides. So fellas, time for some closing thoughts. How does this rank in terms of the, I would say, big update of the year compared to the Tombs of Amaska, Desert Treasure 2, Wild Gothic Sleeps? It's really, really good, but the fact that there has already been so much content added to Varlamore, in my personal opinion, it's very nice. Does it deserve to be called the update of the year? Probably not, but that's not to say that it's bad. It definitely has a lot of great content, but when we think about a big update of a year, I'm basically thinking either Desert Treasure 2 or the Tombs of Amaska. Those releases have set the bar so high up that anything that Jagex tries to do in the future, in my personal opinion, the only thing that could potentially surpass it is the continuation to the Majorat story after Desert Treasure 2. Anything else is really good, it's welcomed, but I don't really think it's going to be as hype as some of those releases. But everything in here, the Doom of Makayotl, the Auburn Valley, and all of the new things and areas and monsters that we can kill here, as well as all the items, definitely live up to the expectations. And I cannot wait to see if sailing is going to be better in order to rival the third part of Varlamore and see which one was better. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to do all the content as soon as you're able to play. Wait for the weekend and go full degenerate in old school RuneScape. So boys and girls, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, you learned something useful, and got you hyped in order to start playing the third part of Varlamore. If you did, tell me what your favorite piece of content from this update is and why. And if you leave the term RSN and your username in your comment, you'll be eligible for our weekly bond giveaway that I do, that we show a winner on Friday stream. I want to give a massive thank you to all the people you see on screen right now for supporting this channel with a monetary subscription, all of which goes to my family, my puppy, my wife, and a local animal shelter we help every month with food and medicine. If you like what I do here, you can consider clicking the join button or the subscribe plus button below to see all the cool benefits you can get in the videos, in the live streams, and in the Discord for a monthly fee. In the next one, like I said, on Monday, I will have an in-depth guide for the new Fletching Activity minigame, which is going to be followed up next week by 1 to 99 Fletching Guide revamped in 2025. I hope you're as excited as I am for that one, but for now, I hope you have an amazing day, have an amazing week, and I will see you then. Peace.